All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. It's coming back with another lesson. Because somebody lying, as it pertains to this war between the U.S. and Iran. And Israel sprinkled in. But, several interviews have been done with Trump, and he's saying he won the war. The war is over. Their military is completely destroyed. But Iran is saying we haven't talked to this man. That's fake news. So, we got a couple articles, couple videos going into it. And as we speak right now, 1,000 more troops are being deployed, out of Fort Bragg. So it seems that Trump is lying, and that's the character of a Edomite, and we're going to get into that. But it says in way over his head, and this is by way of Atlanta Black Star. And, fair use, I'm not making money off this. It says Fox News host embarrasses Trump on White House lawn, forcing him to abruptly walk off over Iran question as Rubio stands by. And I think it's a video on this. We don't really have to read much on it. And this came out yesterday. So we'll just watch this video and get a couple more videos and an article. And, just go into a couple scriptures. So this is the video right here. And let's see if it comes up.
You said that the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that? You said the war was militarily won in Iran. What did you mean by that?
Oh, I think we've won. We've knocked out their Navy, their Air Force. We've knocked out their anti-aircraft. We've knocked out everything. We're roaming free. From a military standpoint, all they're doing is clogging up the strait. But from a military standpoint, they're finished.
So how much longer should the American people expect?
So, according to what he's saying in this interview, the war is over. But yet and still, we got this coming out right here. It says Trump declares war has been won, but he deploys more troops. The president approved another troop surge to the Gulf region, even as he declares victory over Iran. And this is today, man. So somebody's lying, man. I don't think I can't actually go into this article, but we got an actual news clip of it, and that went away. Let's see what comes up. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Yeah.
President Trump claimed today the U.S. is already in direct negotiations with Iran and that the country has agreed to never have a nuclear weapon.
We're in negotiations right now. They're doing it along with Marco, JD. We have a number of people doing it. And the other side, I can tell you, they'd like to make a deal. And who wouldn't if you were there?
All right, CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson joins me now. Eleanor, I know you have some new reporting about new U.S. deployments to the Middle East. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the Pentagon is sending elements of the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East, including a headquarters unit as well as some ground forces, raising the possibility that the Trump administration.
So somebody lying. So let's grab a scripture, and then we'll go back to that if it comes. Always something going on, man. Especially, as we're trying to do the work, went right to it. So This is the book of Psalms, chapter 58 and verse 3. It says, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. And in this case, the wicked is speaking of Esau, Edom. You know, they're born speaking lies. You cannot trust this man. You know, he's right there in your face telling you a lie. The war is won, but yet and still he's sending and deploying 1,000 more troops. It says their poison is like the poison of the serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear. Yeah, you know, they're poison, man. What he's speaking is lies, poison. You know, your philosophies, your policies, all this stuff is like poison, man. You know, verse 5, it says, which will not hearken to the voice of the charmers, charming never so wisely. Verse 6, break their teeth, O power, in their mouth, you know, because the Lord is going to break their teeth. The Lord is going to break their power. The Lord is going to break their military power, you know, when he returns, man. You know, and this is going to be in the middle of World War III. You know, the other nations are going to come up against Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America, and their military might that they boast in are going to be broken to pieces. It says, break out the great teeth of the young lions, O Lord Yahweh. Let them melt away as waters which run continually. When he bendeth his bow and shoot his arrows, let them be as cut in pieces. You know, so they're going to be, the United States military are going to be utterly decimated, man. You know, by way of thermonuclear missiles. You know, this is coming, man. You know, as we see, it's gearing up now. You know, everything is gearing up now. You know, as we see more troops are being sent to the Middle East. And it's always do this. Let's see. Salakia. Let's see. This is a shorter one right here. Let's see. Always got a commercial going. Come on, man.
I fixed my kyphosis and hunchback in just 3 months, thanks to this. Here's
Salakia.
exactly what happened.
We're following breaking news right now in the war against Iran.
More troops are deploying, with more than 1,000 set to come from Fort Bragg. NBC News is citing 2 sources which...
I fixed my kyphosis and hunchback in just 3 months, thanks to this. Here's exactly what happened.
We're following breaking news right now in the war against Iran.
More troops are deploying, with more than 1,000 set to come from Fort Bragg. NBC News is citing 2 sources which report the president has approved these deployments of service members from the 82nd Airborne Division to that region. This comes as the president says the U.S. is in talks with Iran to end this conflict, although Iran denies that any discussions are actually happening.
The 82nd Airborne is an infantry division that specializes in parachute assault. We're working to get more info, and we'll share that with you as soon as it comes into the newsroom.
If it doesn't de-escalate and ends up running right into the height of World War III, a lot of these people are not coming back. You know, so, you know, it's going to be a one-way ticket. You know, so Iran is saying we hadn't talked to this man. We don't know what he's talking about. So clearly, somebody's lying. More than likely, it's Trump. You know, he's an Edomite. What can you expect? So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. You know, as we saw him, yeah, we're in negotiation. We're in talks with him. You know, we're close to making a deal. Yeah, okay. But war was in his heart. You know, as soon as they so-called make a deal and Iran settle down, you know, and put the weapons away and start trusting this devil, he gonna, hey, that's the worst mistake you can make. You know, bombs are gonna be dropped on you. It says his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Yeah, You know, that's the history. And nobody's buying it. You know, that would have worked 30 years ago, 50 years ago. Oh, yeah, we're in negotiations. You know, we'll send you some money and we'll pay for this, we'll pay for that. Everything will be fine. You know, that worked 30 years ago. But now these other nations, man, they've caught on, you know, to Babylon the Great and the way they roll. So now it's all out war, man. They don't want peace. They don't want to talk peace. You know, it's all about war. Oh, matter of fact, there's more on that. Matter of fact, verse 20, it says, he put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. And this devil is known for breaking his covenant, man. You know, he did it with the tribe of Gad, you know. So-called peace treaties, and didn't honor any of them, you know, and then wiped them out. So your track record is speaking for you, you know, and these other nations are hip to it, and they ain't falling for it, man. They don't want no peace. They don't want no negotiations. They really, honestly, want war. You know, they want you out of the region as a whole. That's why they're going after all these other bases, all these other countries, man. You know, they want you out of the region. You know, they're hitting Dubai, hitting Kuwait, hitting everybody around the region is getting hit. All because of you. You know, they want you out. Let's see. You know, YouTube be tripping, man. Just watch a video and all of a sudden it just go away. Let's see. See what we got. Back to this one.
CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson joins me now. Eleanor, I know you have some new reporting about new U.S. deployments to the Middle East. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the Pentagon is sending elements of the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East, including...
CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson joins me now. Eleanor, I know you have some new reporting about new U.S. deployments to the Middle East. What can you tell us about that?
Hey, every time they say that, it reminds me of that Jake that was on
Airborne Division to the Middle East, including a headquarters unit as well as some ground forces, raising the possibility that the Trump administration could decide to put boots on the ground.
That's what it reminds me of.
Elements from the 82nd has an immediate response force that can deploy anywhere in the world within 18 hours of receiving the mission. They can parachute in, secure territory, and capture it, secure it until other forces can arrive. Those elements. Second, the 82nd has an immediate response force that can deploy anywhere in the world within 18 hours of receiving the mission. They can parachute in, secure territory, and capture it, secure it until other forces can arrive. Those elements of the 82nd are headed that way. At the same time, a unit of 2,500 Marines is coming from the Pacific, expected to arrive in the Middle East later this week, and another unit from California of 2,500 Marines is on its way, expected to arrive over the next few weeks. These are the types of units, Sharika, that can launch limited ground operations. Think seizing Kard Island, that crucial hub for the export of Iran's oil, or securing the southern flank.
Yeah. You're gonna be poisoned by the air quality, by the chemicals in the air. You know, it's a suicide mission, man. You know, but this devil don't care.
Of Iran to help reopen that Strait of Hormuz. Eleanor Watson, I know you will stay on top of that for us. Thank you for that new information. For more on this topic as a whole, let's turn to CBS News.
But we see it, man. You know, this man is lying. You know,
of Iran to help reopen
the world hasn't figured out.
Eleanor Watson, I know you will stay on top of that for us.
Let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus.
For more on this topic as a whole, let's turn to CBS
12.
News White House reporter.
You know, we could get, you know, never trust thine enemy. You know, we definitely can get that. Really, we can read all the way through that. You know, this devil is likened, you know, to a serpent, a deaf adder, in several occasions, man. Let's see. Well, in this case, who will pity a charmer? In verse 13. So all the other nations have grown hip to this devil. They're not trying to get bit. So we'll just start at verse 10 and go down, because the point really is on down. But this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy. And in this case, it'll be Esau, Edom. And this is not just speaking for the other nations. Really, just speaking first and foremost to the Israelites. But this devil is an enemy to the whole world. It says, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself, oh yeah, we're in peace talks. Everything is good. We're negotiation going great. Yeah, okay. And go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. So, you can't fall for it, man. Once you see what's behind that humble, fake humbleness, he's still the same person. That rust is still there. It says, matter of fact, let's just drop down to verse 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. And this devil is thinking about how he can just overthrow Iran. He's talking peace negotiation talks. But really, he got that knife behind his back, man. It says he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. So that's what, and it's clear that this devil want blood, man. Especially if you're speaking of the small hats. If they behind anything, they want blood. They don't care. They ain't concerned about your age. They ain't concerned about your conditions. They don't care, man. If you're weak and you out there, you just a target. Several videos and reports of these IDF officers, raping men and women, probably children too, man, no doubt. But, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson, hey man, like the elder Apostle Tahar say, man, it's all about prophecy. There's so many topics out here, man. It's hard to keep up. Brothers putting videos out, hard to keep up. But hey, we all are watchmen. So hey, through the Spirit, if a brother do a video, you might not even see it, but through the Spirit, y'all speaking on the same subject, man. That's how the Spirit works. But, Lord willing is edifying. We want to constantly give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakodash. Shalom.